HIIT brings faster progress and is more interesting than traditional cardio, but most people misunderstand how HIIT works and believe that it's just for people who are already fit. If you find yourself getting bored, losing motivation, and not making progress with your current cardio, HIIT will disrupt the monotony and revitalize your training. Today you're going to learn what HIIT is, how it works, and why you should incorporate it into your own workouts. So what is HIIT? HIIT stands for high intensity interval training, which just means training with intervals of higher intensity, or adding short bursts. The concept behind HIIT is far more simple than it's often made out to be. Basically, you can maintain an overall higher intensity of exercise by strategically using bursts and rests. Let's go through a simple example. Say you're cycling steadily on a gym bike. You can probably keep this moderate pace up for ages, however, it isn't particularly intense. A way to incorporate an interval would be to do a 15-second fast pace and then back to your normal speed for 45 seconds. So in a 60-second block, 15 seconds fast, 45 seconds steady. That 15 seconds is our interval of higher intensity. High intensity interval training, HIIT. As you can see, this is far more simple than what we sometimes perceive HIIT training to be with kettlebells, ropes, rowers, etc. You can use more variety and we'll come back to that later, but that's what HIIT actually is. So how does HIIT work? In your body, what actually happens when you do HIIT? This is the interesting part. The higher in intensity you can work at, the faster you'll make progress and to a greater degree. But when you're unfit, high intensity is unsustainably hard. Starting simply, let's think about someone relatively unfit. If I ask them to jog on a treadmill, maybe they can keep it up for 2 or 3 minutes. Conversely, if I ask them to walk, they can keep going for a good 20 to 30 minutes. The 2 or 3 minutes jogging is a higher intensity than the walk, which in theory is better, but because they can't keep it up for long, they'll get more out of the walk overall. When you work at a higher intensity, your heart has to pump blood faster around your body and your lungs have to work harder to take in the oxygen you need for energy. Higher intensity means more effort for your heart and lungs. This is a positive thing because it means over time, your heart becomes stronger and your lungs become more efficient. Lovely. High intensity is therefore good, but a bit pointless if you can't sustain it. If we get the same person to jog for 30 seconds, then walk for 90 seconds and repeat, they can probably keep this up for 15 minutes. The 30-second jog will be reasonably challenging, and the 90-second walk gives them an opportunity to recover. They'll end up working at a higher overall intensity for 15 minutes versus the fairly low intensity for 20 minutes. What's important is that the actual speed itself doesn't matter. It's the relative intensity that we're after. More intensity means heart and lungs working harder. Heart and lungs working harder means more progress. So in this scenario, the 15 minutes with higher intensity intervals will mean more progress. This is how HIIT works to unlock extra improvements. It essentially allows you to cheat to a higher overall intensity for a longer period of time. Okay, we know what HIIT is and we know how it works. The final question is, why should you do HIIT? And there are 2 answers to this question. Back in the intro, cardio was boring. Boring exercise makes it hard to maintain discipline and motivation. The simple examples of 15 seconds of fast cycling with 45 seconds gentle, or a 30-second jog with a 90-second walk make a huge difference in breaking up the monotony of cardio. The timing of intervals give your brain something to focus on. They give the gentle periods a purpose rather than being the status quo. And the intervals can actually become fun because you get to push yourself a bit more, safe in the knowledge that you aren't overdoing it. The other fun reason to do HIIT is that it's effectively limitless. So far we've spoken about how to incorporate intervals on a treadmill or bike, but the principle of relative rest and higher intensity bursts applies to every other exercise. Let's make a simple circuit as an example. 4 exercises: squats, kettlebell swings, walkouts, and mountain climbers. Do 60 seconds of each exercise and in between take a 30-second rest. That's HIIT 2. High intensity periods where we're exercising, low intensity periods where we're resting. If you're less fit, you could do 30 seconds of the exercises and 60 seconds rest. If you're fitter, You could do 15-second rests. Those 4 exercises are just examples, and you can substitute any of them for anything else. Deadlifts? Why not? Pull-ups? Sure. More kettlebells? Crack on. You can choose whatever you want, from a treadmill to a kettlebell, and use HIIT as a principle to train. HIIT isn't a set structure. HIIT just means using short bursts to work harder overall and make more progress. You'll make meaningful improvements with your fitness because your heart is beating harder and therefore becoming stronger. Your lungs are working harder, which makes them better at using oxygen. That's what cardiovascular fitness, or cardio, means. HIIT allows you to use whichever exercises you want. If you hate treadmills, bikes, rowers, etc., then use bodyweight, kettlebells, dumbbells, and bars. Do 60 seconds hard work, take a 30-second rest, and carry on around your circuit. If you don't want to use weights or body weight, or if you enjoy using traditional cardio equipment, then you can do HIIT too. Jog for 30 seconds, then walk for 90. Cycle fast for 15 seconds, then steadily for another 45. More progress, more interesting, all HIIT. HIIT is for everyone, not just for people who are already fit. Use your new knowledge to make your cardio interesting and make more progress. For more health and fitness insights delivered from experience and with integrity, subscribe to me. Thanks.